This is Scott the Fix-It Guy. Our goal with our videos is to empower you to be able to do the repairs on your own and save a whole lot of money and also get that great feeling of having fixed it by yourself.
This is an unusual circumstance where when you plug in the dryer, give it power, even though it's not on, the motor will start running. And if you put it up to a ground fault circuit interrupter type of a circuit, it'll keep tripping the circuit. So it sounds like the motor has a short circuit in it. So we got it unplugged. First thing we're going to do is get the top off by pushing in on this clip. You can also use a putty knife or a paint scraper. Do one over here. Hinge this up out of the way, and we have to remove a few screws inside here. We have to disconnect a little modular connector, 2 Phillips head screws here, but they've already been taken out, so I'm going to pull the front panel off. To do that, I'll just grab this. Here's the frame. I'll grab the top, pull it toward me, and then these little clips here let go. And then there's 2 clips on the bottom. You have to lift this up to get this front panel off. There's one. There we go. Get your front panels off. So we've already taken the belt off. And now I have to push up to disconnect the rear bearing from underneath. So I'm going to put my hand underneath there and push up near the back, and I'll lift it off of the rear bearing. Sometimes you have to use a fair amount of force to get that off of the old bearing. You can now take out the tumbler and have good access to the motor. Grab it by the belt, put the tumbler over here. The old motor, we cleaned it up a little bit. It had a lot of lint had built up on it, but basically every time you would plug in this jack, it would trip the ground fault interrupter circuit plug behind the dryer. If this was not connected, get this off, and you had this connected to the front panel, which allows you to start the motor. So what I do is I put it up here on top. This guy out here where I can connect these two. And this is going to allow me to send power to the motor so I can test it. Got to just turn these so these fit correctly. There we go. So those are connected. So now if you plug it in, it won't trip. But as soon as you put this on to the motor, it trips. Which makes me think that the motor has a short circuit. So we have a new motor. We're going to hook it up to this and see if it's going to work correctly. Looking at these spade connectors, these jacks, this looks healthy. This looks like it's okay. There's a short inside the motor. So this is the new drive motor. You can get these online. This number, about $65. And this may be, it's going to solve our problem. I think the old one had an internal fault somewhere. So here's the new motor. We've got that in nice and tight. Set the motor down and give it a test. So, timer, plug it in. Alright, I want to confirm that. We know the circuit didn't trip because this works. So we start this, the motor turns on. Yeah, so there we go. So that motor had an internal fault, internal short circuit. So this motor does work really good and shows that the thing that was tripping the ground fault interrupter was bad motor. So we're going to get this one out of here. Next we want to remove the old motor. We're going to use a 7/8 socket. Got this big plastic nut, part of the blower wheel. You want to get that on nice and securely. Maybe even tap that on a little bit to get it really sunk on there. And we're going to be going righty, instead of righty-tighty, it's going to be righty-loosey. What we got to do is also grab onto this so it can't move. Use some vice grips. Got this locked on the motor pulley. We get this up against the frame. I'm going to move it to the right. There we go. And that just let go. So now I'm going to keep spinning to the right. That'll disconnect the blower wheel. Once you get it loose, it'll spin off really easily. It's kind of hard to get them loose sometimes. So I think that's free of the shaft now. So we're going to lift up on this plastic piece here. This clip. So you get off these motor clips that are holding the motor down. Put a standard head screwdriver in here. And then lean it against this fulcrum. This clip will come off. Notice how it was hooked here, and this hump thing was over to the left. So then we just got to get this one off. It's off. We're going to push in on this tab right there, and we'll lift up. Get this out of here. So now nothing's holding the motor. We have the wire harness disconnected, have this clip disconnected, have this clip disconnected. Blower wheel I think is pretty much off. So we're going to lift the motor up. Get this out of the way. Here's the old motor. Notice how the harness was pointing up at about 1 o'clock. Do the same thing. Here's the new motor. Some of this stuff out of here while we're in position. So, kind of get our blower wheel situated so the shaft will go in. So there's a little nut on that shaft. I mean on the blower wheel. I gotta get this to go into that. There we go. So now, it's counterintuitive, but you want to go lefty-tighty. And slide these into position. So I'm going to tighten this up. Hold this steady. Just with my fingers. Tighten this one. I'm going to put the vice grips back on the motor pulley. And I'll take my wrench and turn it that way. So you don't have to get this super tight, but just, there we go. Kind of wiggle this, because it'll kind of lock on the plastic otherwise. Wiggle, 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 and pull. I should be able to get this off. There we go. Okay. So we gotta get the clips back on to hold the motor in position. to be about 1 o'clock. Put this clip back in. I'm going to push it until this thing gets over that. There we go. That one locked. Put this one on. Got to get it over this little thing first. Okay, I got it hooked here. Push down with my thumb on the knob here to hook over there. So that's hooked on. That's hooked on. That's tight. Now put on the wiring harness for the motor. Clip that in. Got it. I'll hook this back up to the spring. This back on. Okay, now we're going to put the tumbler rear bearing back in here. Just set that back down in the rear bearing. Get the belt in position. Reach in with my left hand, either pulley to the left and get the belt back on the motor pulley. Then I want to spin it to make sure that it's on there securely. And you can see the blower wheel turning, so you know that the belt's hooked up. Okay, so we are going to put on the front panel. Let me disconnect this one for now. I'm going to feed this in here. Lift up on this tumbler to get it over on the front bearing. We'll have these click in. I'm going to reconnect this up and then put the screws back in. Phillips head screw back in right here. There's two of them, one here and one on the other side, and they help to hold the front panel on. Just tighten that up with the screwdriver. Okay, to the other side.
So we plugged it in and started it up, and that solved the problem. It just needed a new motor. Motors are pretty cheap, pretty easy to put in. Hopefully this will help you with your dryer too to get it going again. Thanks so much for watching. Please subscribe when you get a chance so we can send you some more repair videos. Thanks again.